everybody. Welcome to this month's Beautiful Book Geeks. With us this time, we have the wonderful, the gnome-tastic Anais. Say hi, Anna.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself, or would you like me to make shit up?
Oh, you can do that. That'll be the most fun ever.
Tight walker extraordinaire.
Oh, we're off to a
Gnome
good
wrangler
start.
from the far east.
Oh,
Poet to the gods.
I can second that one.
it's a good one.
And coffee aficionado.
Yes. Yeah.
And magnificent musician.
Magnificent. What that?
Musician.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I know.
And-
I revision
and
I should be like,
finger.
what was that? What?
No,
That's
please.
what-
Could you repeat that praise? Could you repeat that praise a little bit? Just
Yeah,
a few more
praise.
times.
Yeah. It's terrible. Oh, well, thank you. Wow, that is much better than I would have done for myself. So see?
Also, she likes gnomes.
Mm-hmm. I do. True fact.
And bananas.
And bananas. That's right. She does the double O bananas with
I do.
JD Estrada.
With JD. Yep. Yep. Hey.
Oh my god. The amount of people who do double O bananas now is awesome.
I just enjoy watching you guys do it. We don't believe in bananas in my house.
Oh, you don't believe in bananas?
No.
Well, I
know.
believe in them because I've seen them, but
Uh-oh.
We don't
Uh-oh.
believe in eating them. If they're not in
Okay.
bread, they're not consumable.
Ah. Okay.
I had a very bad experience as a child.
Hmm.
she was beaten up by bananas.
No,
Okay.
my mean older sister
whole bunch
made
of
me
'em?
eat a bunch of beaten up bananas, which is
Oh,
even
God.
worse. Yeah. They were all bruised and gross, and she
Mhm.
forced me to eat them. And so
Oh, siblings are mean.
really traumatized by that experience. So I just watch other people enjoy bananas now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't have anyone traumatize me with bananas. Thank goodness.
God, that is such a terrible sentence.
By the way, this is not a family safe show.
I mean, I had a traumatic experience with the banana ones, but
Somebody did. Not me. Mine have all been silly or for potassium, so I'm good.
There you go. See, I drink naked fruit juice.
Mhm.
to
I
get my
also drink
potassium.
naked.
Yeah, I've had
That's
that
my
before.
new thing. No, naked fruit juice, Rebekah. Naked fruit juice.
I'm drinking naked right now.
See, it gives you those sound bites. That's why
There
it's
you
your
go.
brand.
So,
But yeah.
Anais and I were talking, and she has read Only Human now, correct?
Oh, yes, I have. Yes. And I am 30% into Shadow of a Human. I thought I was going to get it done by now, but, things happen. But yes. Yeah, I'm reading the heck out of that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I actually just learned recently that I have Shadow of a Human, and I've apparently had it for a while.
Well, that was a funny story. When I finished Only Human, I was freaking out because I wasn't positive if I had it. I have, I would say I have most of JD's books. I don't think I have the one that is partially in Spanish and partly in English. But I have
I do.
all the rest of them. I know, and I need to get it. And I was freaking out because I didn't know if I had it. And the way that Only Human ended, I needed it not to end.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was super happy when I found that I actually did have it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I also have all of his books now.
Yes.
I'm fairly
Me
certain.
too. He writes the best dedications and such in his books.
Oh my God, he
Yeah.
writes the best dedications just on Twitter. Like,
He does.
I mean, if you need a pick-me-up in life, be friends with JD Estrada. My God.
Yeah. Or watch his YouTube videos. I love watching his YouTube videos. He is
Yes.
he is one of those people who's like super positive and yet super deep at the same time. And it's really hard to find those kinds of people because, you know, if you're super positive, a lot of times for me to stay positive, I have to ignore life a lot.
Yeah.
Which is why I have not been anywhere near social media since Thursday.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which really sucks because with my back out, it's like all I've had to do for the last several weeks has been social media because if it's heavier than a phone, I can't hold it.
Oh, that
And
sucks.
and then to not be able to access social media because of all the drama with the shooting, I'm like, yeah, no. But JD is able to, you know, he handles that deep stuff while still being positive, and that's like a life goal I have. I stopped JD for that. I'm like, somehow I'm gonna siphon this shit off, you know?
Right. Well, I think that was part of how we got to be good friends, is that we share a lot of that common goal, because I think deep down we both have a lot of darkness, but our answer to the darkness is to laugh and to be as ridiculous in the face of it as possible. So
Yeah.
And not to, I don't know, for me, I try to embrace all of it. I can't speak to exactly all of his processes or anything. I just know that we have a lot in common there. But I just have, and it didn't happen overnight, of course, but I just try to embrace everything. And then sometimes you just can't. If you do need a break, you should take it.
Yeah.
And
And that's one of the struggles with being an author. You know, I loved reading your poetry, but oh my God, you depressed me, girl. And I mean that in a positive way. But I just, you know, there was so much emotion and pain. And it's hard being an author. A lot of us are very empathic souls. And so when we read about other people's pain, you know, we relive it. It's really hard, but that's one of the beauties of poetry, is being able to do that. And despite a lot of um the negativity, the negative experiences that you had, the way that you turned that in the poetry into something positive was really beautiful to experience.
Well, thank you. I think that I felt really strongly about not hiding anything, because when I left the situation that I was in, when I was younger, I wanted to read about stuff, and you want media to come back and reflect yourself, so that you know that you're not alone and you're not crazy and all of these things. And for some of my experiences, I didn't have that reflection back, because people will only go so far and then they start writing in metaphor. And,
right.
And so that just drove me crazy, because it kind of, for me, it solidified that it was such a dark, horrible thing that now it's not speakable. And I think everything should be speakable. So
right, he who has no name, right? If you don't give it a name, you can't talk about it. And if you can't talk about it, you can't fix it.
You can't fight it.
Right. So I felt really strongly about giving all of those things a name, and being as realistic about it as possible, so that if there was somebody else who read that who needed to hear somebody be as blunt as I needed at the time, then I did that. But I definitely understand it's not a walk in the flower garden. So
right, but you know, and poetry is such a beautiful place to be able to do that too, because you know, it's people don't read poetry for fun. Poetry is there to help them connect with emotions and with feelings. And you're absolutely right. Being able to, you know, we talk in metaphors. I think sometimes poets use metaphors to broaden the accessibility for the emotion and feeling. But in a way, it separates it from the reality and the harshness of those individual experiences. And I thought you did a beautiful job addressing those issues. And still, I mean, even though it was really hard to read, there was, you know, hope on the other side of it, which I think is wonderful and beautiful.
Oh, thank you. If you don't have hope, then it just becomes a snuff film. So you have to give yourself hope. Seriously, you have to give
Absolutely.
yourself hope.
You've got a point. Yeah.
You
Absolutely, I
have
totally
to.
agree.
You have
I
to
mean,
give
you named
yourself
that really well.
Yeah, you have to. It's a basic human need, and if nobody else is giving it to you, you have to give it to yourself. You know, so so I just try to put that very direct statement in there. You just have to have hope, you know. And if one thing's not working, go try another one. Yep.
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 And considering the two authors I know who write poetry the way you do is you and JD.
Mhm.
And you're both such happy people. I think there's a lot to be said. That right there says a lot about writing poetry that way. You know,
We just
name the
refuse
pain,
to
name the
do
demons.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we both found out that maybe I should just speak for myself, but when you are negative all the time, because when I was younger, I have major depression, and that's just me. So that's not going to go away. And so I was hard to be around, and you lose people because you're hard to be around, and then you realize that you don't want to keep losing people because you are the difficult one, which is a tough thing to come to. But once you do, then you can try to modify that behavior and not be such a negative Nancy all of the time. And then when you feel like that, instead of immediately going to someone else, go to the piano or write it down in a poem or something, and then work out your own crap first before you just do it on somebody else without having any knowledge behind it. You know, you haven't decided even how you feel, you're just lashing out.
And that's a great way to look at, depression in general is if when you're caught in the throes of it, it's easy to pass it off on other people. And then when you drive them away, you have less of a support group, which just feeds the depression.
Right. But
And
there's
so being able to break out of that cycle, yeah, you're always going to have the depression, you're always going to have to deal with it, but having that support network helps to keep the monsters at bay.
But there's a flip side to it that I found in that there's a belief in, especially self-help groups and things like that, that say get rid of negative people. And I think that that's a horrible, horrible thing to do. Especially everybody goes through horrible times, like maybe they're going through a divorce or something. They're going to be pretty hard to be around. And so if you just drop everybody who makes you feel bad instead of helping them cope with the situation, then you're kind of a crabby person, and the person who has been left is better off for not having that person around if they're just going to continually not want to help.
Right, absolutely. And that is really hard. If you cut out negative people, one, you don't get that view of the world that's a real view of the world and what they're going through, and being able to face the reality of things is an important part of dealing. But when you try to it's also the whole fake it till you make it thing.
Right.
That makes me crazy.
Oh, I hate that.
People
Yeah.
tell people, "Oh, well, just because you're sad, just, pretend to be happy.
Yeah, you
And
can't.
then eventually you'll be happy." And that's not really how it works. You have to give yourself a chance to feel those feelings and process, just like you were talking about. Go to the piano, go to writing, go to, whatever it is, that thing that helps you process.
Right.
Because if you just ignore it and stuff it down, I am horrible about stuffing my feelings down. And then you end up blowing up on people, and it creates a huge nasty mess of mess. You got to be able to process your feelings and be able to deal with that. And part of what helps you do that is your support network. That's one of the things I absolutely love about our right side is that we have a bunch of people who the outside world might look at them and their individual situations and be like, you guys are so broken. But together, we work together to build each other up. And part of that is helping process the horrible stuff that we're going through, to build each other up. So we're not broken. We're together, we're solid and we're strong. Even if
Yeah.
individually some of us might be broken, like me and my back right now.
Right. Yeah. It's a part of being able to hold somebody else up and give them a bandage. I think that when you are depressed, something that is really good to do is spend a little bit of time making somebody else feel better. And even if it doesn't do anything right then, because if you are truly depressed, a lot of times it's not about feeling anymore. It's a lack of feeling. But when you're giving back to somebody else and making them smile and having all of that kind of be reflected at you, it helps remind you of your emotions, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow, deep thoughts.
I know, now I'm drinking some coffee. I'm like, yes.
One of our guests over on YouTube commented that Eeyore was a perfect example of clinical depression, but his friends
Mhm.
continued to still be his friend
Yeah.
and lift him up. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And left him
know,
alone. He needed it.
Yes, and sometimes you need to be left alone. And the funny thing about Eeyore is that I was just talking to another writer friend of mine, and I said that's kind of me. I'm like an Eeyore type. And so I really value people who are just like extroverted and excitable. I love being around those people because it's like the opposite of me, and you need that for balance sometimes.
See, I would totally, from your YouTube videos and stuff, I would never get that from you. You seem like a total extrovert when you're doing your YouTube videos. I love that we're getting that inner look into you, not necessarily being exactly what we're seeing on social media, which is
I
good.
think that you can be all of those things all at once, because I trained for opera for over 10 years, and that made me, like, being introverted doesn't mean that I have a hard time talking to people anymore, or even being in crowds of people when I'm performing or anything like that, because I learned how to cope with all of those things. And so I don't mind talking or performing or any of that in front of people. It's just that in my day-to-day life, I like to spend a lot of time alone.
Oh yeah, I like to call myself a closet introvert. People watch me on social media and everything, and they're like, "Oh, you're like totally an extrovert," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I can be an extrovert temporarily, but it's so exhausting." And I think that's another, part of that, the empathy piece, because when you're in a group, yeah, you can get energized by it, but then as soon as that group goes away, the energy and then any energy you put into the group is just sucked away as well. And that's really hard. Like, I love doing Brain to Books Cyber Convention, which is coming up in April. Woohoo, so excited. But at the end of that, and this is an online convention, which
Right.
means it's not even as hard as like a real life convention.
Yeah,
as
but
far
it's tough,
the
man.
crowds and stuff. But it's emotionally
It is.
draining. And I think for closet introverts like ourselves, it's people don't realize how exhausting it is to be in front of that crowd. And in the moment, they don't realize it, because watching you look energized and you look, because you're feeding off of their energy in the group. But then as soon as it's over, it's just like, I just felt like, I ran a mile. I'm exhausted from this. This is just so much more work than people realize sometimes.
Yeah. It is a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. So it was like that balance. And I remember when last year, after it was over, I did a lot of the Joe's Bar live stuff.
Yeah.
And then I just was like, oh, I cannot talk to anyone for 2 weeks, and it'll be great. Just to decompress.
Yeah, exactly.
But
as long as you schedule that decompression in.
Story. It was a great time to get people's stories.
Yeah, for sure. So are you doing it again this year?
I'm not sure.
I hope
I
so.
don't know.
They're everybody's signing up right now. So if you're interested, are you in the Brain to Books Facebook group?
Yeah, so I'll probably, if I do that, I'll probably sign up for some Joe's Bar because that's my
Yeah,
that's my comfort zone, I guess. I don't know.
I love
I'm
Joe's
not
Bar.
sure. I
It's
have
fun.
to check it out.
Yeah, they're just getting everything set up for authors back end. So any authors who are interested in doing an online convention, go ahead and go to B2, the number 2, bscicon.com, and they have the signups and registers there. And then any readers who are interested, if you click on the keep us informed, I think is what it says. Hold on, I have to go look. See, I clearly wasn't planning on sharing this announcement right now, obviously.
Right. And I would also let the authors know that this year there is not a monetary cost.
That's right.
Angela
It's all
is just
free this
asking
year.
you to submit a story about your journey.
Yeah, and that's
Yep.
a great thing for people.
Budget friendly. But yeah, for readers, oh, they don't have it set up yet. For readers, stay tuned because in March we'll talk about it again because it's April, what is it, 6th, 7th, and 8th this year?
Oh, I
think?
forgot.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
April 6th,
Right when my
7th,
book's coming out.
I know.
2018. So yeah, it'll be awesome. But just stay tuned here. We'll talk about it more as it comes up. But for authors, go ahead and go get registered because it is absolutely a blast. And you get to make great connections with tons of other authors. I have to credit B2B Psychon for meeting Amanda.
Oh,
I met her
really?
through that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where Amanda
Wow.
and I met last year. And Joe, who introduced me to Rebekah,
Are you
and Joshua
kidding me?
Robertson. And that's actually Joe's how I met you too, Anais.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Joe's a good connector.
Yeah. But I met
Yeah.
Joe through B2B Psychon. If it hadn't been for B2B Psychon, I wouldn't be as connected to
Wow,
the
that's
writing world as I am
crazy.
now.
Which means
That's
that the rest of us probably
you're
wouldn't know
doing
each
it now.
other either.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I still know
So,
Anais because I met her through Josh. I met
Yeah.
Josh through other random connections.
Yeah, that was how I met a lot of people through Josh. Because before that, I was just a writing hermit.
yeah.
Just
Yeah,
complete
I did that for
hermitry.
the
Yeah.
first 3 years. Well, I was for the first 3 years of writing, I was focused on connecting with other readers. And it
Yeah.
was really lonely. And it was really frustrating and it was really hard. And then with B2B Psychon, I got to meet a ton of other authors and actually interact with them and go, okay, it's not just me. This is really hard. And maybe I don't want to be this
Mhm.
lonely. And so
Yeah.
having that connection with other writers has been one of my favorite parts of B2B Psychon. Meeting readers is cool too. And I had fun with that, but the classic writing into the void thing, you get to get away from that with B2B Psychon. So that was awesome.
Yeah, that it is life-changing because I've been writing since I was a kid, and I never had a writing community until I met Joshua. So it's just all of these years of just plugging away, writing, and doing all that stuff by yourself, and then suddenly when you meet other people, you find out all these other ways that people do it that might be better than how you're doing it or different, and then you can try those out instead of just doing the same thing for life, like a life sentence.
Yeah.
Because you only got your own perspective.
Right. And even when you connect with readers, I mean, readers are awesome, but they can only give you so much feedback. And it's either I loved it or I
so
hated
different.
it. And they can't tell
And
you
they also
why.
can't tell you if you're screwing stuff up.
And sometimes they don't
Right.
want to because they're like, oh, well, obviously she's a writer. She's a professional.
She knows what she's doing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all just faking it until we make it.
Yeah, we're totally faking it.
But
Totally.
having writers,
Like for
and
example,
colleagues, you get
I
feedback.
forgot we were even doing this until I saw it posted on Facebook.
I messaged you this morning.
But you have to keep in mind, Amanda,
That's
with our
awesome.
right side, she gets messages on Facebook all the time. So I totally sympathize with that. I had to go
All
through
right,
so
girl,
many
after the show, give me your phone
messages before I
number.
got
You don't have my
B2B.
phone number?
I don't have your phone number.
Secrets are coming out.
Do I want to give you my phone number?
Run away, run away. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. How much do you like heavy breathing in the middle of the night?
Oh dear.
I think that's a topic
I
for
do, in
another-
fact, like to call
another
people and then
day.
set the phone down next to my dog.
Oh jeez.
Oh,
That
that's
is
just mean.
That is
That's how you
one
deal
of
with
the best things.
That's how you deal with the creepy spammers, right?
No, actually, that's how I deal with the. We heard you want insurance. Press 1 now.
And you're like,
And
no, I don't.
the credit card consolidation people.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I get calls from them, and I don't even have a credit card. I'm like, hello. How did you get my number? Please remove me from your list. Because I don't have any credit cards and need consolidating. Thanks.
I mean, I own one, but it doesn't. It doesn't have anything on it.
I don't own
think
one
I
because if I did, I would max it out on books. I'm bad.
Mhm.
I have a problem, and I know this, so I don't have credit cards because, yeah, I have a problem.
Like I said, I haven't activated it, so it'd be a lot of steps for me to actually use it.
Oh, but then it'd be one step to buy books.
Which is why it's not
That's
activated.
dangerous. Yeah, that's dangerous. I understand.
But no, I'm normally very, very good, and I penny pinch a lot, just kind of naturally. This last month, that was the outlier, I promise.
All your book buying this month was unusual, huh?
I got Amazon gift cards.
Oh.
And that's the best present ever. I remember one Christmas, it was like the second Christmas my husband and I were together, and everybody got me, well, back in the day it was Barnes & Noble gift cards.
Oh
But
yeah, that's what it
everybody
used to
got
be.
me
Yeah.
Barnes & Noble gift cards, and my husband felt so bad at the end because he was like, you don't have anything. My mom bought me one book, and I dove right into that because she knows my interests, and she knew what I had and what I didn't have. So she actually bought me a book, but then she also gave me a gift card so I could buy more books, which was awesome. And everybody's playing with their little doodads and their little gifts and everything, and he's like, I feel really bad because you didn't really
You don't
get
have
anything.
it.
And I was like, dude, I just got $350.
I have possibilities.
That will fill my book reading for 3 months, man. And he's like, wait, $350 will only cover you for 3 months?
That's hilarious.
And then he
That's
learned
why they
that
made libraries.
Heidi has to be put on a
Yeah.
budget. Otherwise, Heidi will spend all of her money on books. So
That's funny.
Well, everyone had their books on sale. I mean, Diane Duane had her books on sale. What was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to do, you guys?
It's
exactly.
true. Even I had my book on sale. Have my book on sale.
Yep.
One of them. Yep. Even me. That's true. I think it's because it's finally February, so I felt like it was the right time to put it on sale.
Anytime there's a holiday, right?
I just do it whenever I get that Kindle Unlimited. It says you can do it at a certain time frame, so I just do it whenever I can. It's like, whatever, here you go. Please buy.
Actually, I think I'm only missing one of your books now, Anais. I think I've got the rest.
Which one? Do you know?
No, it's on my phone, and I'm actually
Okay.
connected to the internet through my phone.
Oh, never mind then. See.
Yeah.
I saw a meme about that. Somebody said, if you're an author and you hear a friend's reading your book and then there's a dinosaur looking over the fence, I feel like that's what I just did.
Yep, I know that feeling.
Which one? Which one?
That's why I usually wait until after I'm done reading it, just to let the authors know I'm reading it.
That's funny. Yeah.
Which is why now, because of you guys, I buy my books.
Mm-hmm.
And I, it pops up on Goodreads and whatnot saying, what I've got. But now I wait a couple of days usually. I wait X many days. I'm not going to say how many.
I don't even put, when I buy books, I don't put them on my bookshelf until, I used to do the am reading.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would get what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say
Dinosaurs over your
harassment.
fence?
Hounded.
Yeah, I would be like, authors would be like, hey, so what are you thinking? What are you thinking? And I'm like, don't do this to me. Let me just read it and then I'll get back to you.
Right.
You'll get the
Yeah.
review. It's okay. So, and that's one of the other reasons that I started buying books rather than, because, you know, it's really common in the book blogging world for authors to give you an ebook copy at
Freebies.
least to, to read. So now I pretty much buy everything. Even when I get ARCs, I will end up buying the ARC as soon as it's available for pre-order, because that way I don't feel bad about what I put in the review.
It's funny.
Which, to be fair, in 7 years of book blogging, I've only written 2-star reviews.
Yeah.
But, you know, and I'm honest, but it's hard to be more honest when somebody gives you the book. And I realized that about 2 years ago, that it was really hard to be like, yeah, this book didn't grab me.
Yeah.
Because they gave me the book for free and I felt bad. You know?
Not every book can grab every person, but I don't know. I guess I have a really big heart for books.
Yeah.
So it has to be pretty dismal for me to not like it.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I would say probably 2/3 of the books that I've reviewed are 3 stars. And then the rest of them are 4 stars. To me, it's really hard to get a 5-star review. And I know a lot of authors get really upset about that, but I have to absolutely love your book so much that I know I'm going to reread it over and over and over again. And there's like 4 authors that qualify for that. If I read your book and I liked it enough that I'm going to read the next book, you're going to get a 4-star. If it was okay and I'm not worried about whether I'm going to read the next book or not, then it gets 3 stars. If there were like serious issues with the storyline and editing and all of that stuff, that's when you get 2 stars. So you have to be really sucky to get a 2-star review. And I've never, I mean, I don't even know what, I guess a 1-star would be a did not finish. And I can count on 2 hands how many books I've not finished in my lifetime. So
I think a 1-star would have to be pretty bad, but
yeah. To me, it would have to be so bad that I didn't finish reading it. I mean, I've had books that I also am a compulsive reader, so I don't put books down, even if they don't grab me. I have to know how it ends, even if it didn't grab me. And that's not just reading. I do that with everything. Movies. I'm really careful about what I pick up to read.
Oh man, I'll just get up and walk off from a movie.
I can't even fall asleep. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, I don't get upset about reviews. So, of course, I haven't gotten a bunch of negative reviews, so maybe I should shut my mouth. But I guess that once I finish writing it and I put it out there, it's not yours anymore, really. So whatever somebody experiences with it, they're putting their own life and their own experience.
That's kind of how I feel about bias.
So it's okay. And how can you expect everybody to get what you're saying? You know, not everybody's going to bond with every book the same way. So
exactly.
It's okay. It doesn't mean anything about you personally, I guess.
Right. And there are some things that, like, I read all of my reviews. And one of the things I've learned is that you learn more about a reviewer than you do about your book from reading reviews.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that if you see a common theme through the review, that might be something that you might want to, it's not necessarily, but might want to do differently in future works. And that's very beneficial. Wendy Sampson in the comments mentioned that she loves Kindle Unlimited. It's a great resource for lots of reading, but she's found that a lot of books struggle with building a following because they don't do basic grammar checks, spelling, tense consistency, or who is who.
Okay,
and that's
if there's no proper tense consistency, I toss the book. I'm not. Just no.
And that's why I
actually have like 8 books on my Kindle right now. Not KU, because I'm not on KU.
Yeah,
but
that's why I don't do KU,
actually the ones I would give 1s. And I'm just can't do it. This is not worth my time. If it wasn't worth your time to read over it once, it's not worth my time to read over once.
Right. Well, Wendy, I will tell you that Anais's work You won't have issues with grammar, spelling, or consistency.
No, and it's
Content
on
might
Kindle.
be, you know,
Yeah, there's a
it's
content
definitely,
warning. Yeah.
it's definitely content warning worthy, but as far as consistency of writing style, she does an amazing job.
Well, thank you. I do warn you, in my work in progress, I have a book about somebody who suffers from anxiety attacks that I'm working on. And part of that is that she keeps dissociating. And so sometimes the tense changes because she doesn't.
Oh, no. When that happens on purpose, it's amazing. Because it really drags you along.
Yeah. Because that's part of anxiety is having that sense of unreality and that. So I'm using it as a tool. Right. But I'm aware of it. I'm not. I'm very aware of it. And
and that's the key is the consistency.
The anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it's consistently inconsistent, that still works.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a work in progress. I don't know what to say about the other people who are failing her on Kindle Unlimited. I just thought it's a good program to put my books in for people who have it, so they can read it. And if you don't like something, there's so much else out there. So keep looking.
Yeah, and that is one of the nice things for people who can actually close a story. For people like me, it's a nightmare. Because I can't stop. So I'm one of those people that I have the same problem when I go to the library. I can't read the first 3 pages because the rest of the book is right there. And so I'm stuck.
Man.
And I can't just walk away. At least with Amazon, I can read the look inside, and then if it's not for me, I can walk away because I don't have to push the button. I don't have to push the button. And that saved me from 50 Shades. So thank you, Amazon. I appreciate it.
That's hilarious.
Because I realized in the first 2 pages that I couldn't do
that
it.
You want to slap that editor? Yeah.
Was there an editor? I don't think there was. I think she self-edited.
There is a name on there. There is a name on there for editor.
I hope she didn't pay him.
But remember, you can edit a book and then the author reject the edits.
That's true.
Like, seriously, that has to be what happened. That book was so terrible.
Either that or the editor was just a friend who helped out and didn't have any editing skills, which is possible too. I know that when
supposedly
she wrote it
she's edited other books for the whoever her publisher is. Who published that garbage?
It was an independently published book. It was self-published.
Was it?
Yeah.
It started out that way. I know that.
I know it started out that way, but I didn't think it
I mean, they haven't done anything to it other than they got distribution through. It's the same thing that Suzanne Collins did with The Hunger Games. That was self-published, and then she got distribution through, was it Bantam? But it wasn't, Bantam didn't actually republish the books. They just took what she had and put it in hard copy. And
okay, then maybe, like I know the name is on there.
That's
because I wanted to look her
up.
They did. I was so angry.
But yeah, and it also goes to show that my mom says, sorry, Wendy Sampson, who, by the way, you guys, is my mom. This is her first episode that she's watching. Say yay.
Hi, Mom.
Hello.
Hi, Mom.
She said that editor was not a friend. and for what it's worth, I can promise you.
That's funny. That's a funny statement.
My mom has not read 50 Shades of Grey. She's just going off of what we're saying about the conversation.
Don't do it. It is so painful. It is so painful.
But she's absolutely right. I see books where I watch with friends. They had a friend edit it, and I've tried that with beta reading, and I realized that just because they like reading your genre doesn't mean they can do editing. That just means that they like reading your story. And that's, it's the same thing with book covers. You can ask a reader, hey, do you like this book cover? But they can't tell you why they do or don't and what needs to be changed
or
to
if
make
it's
it better.
Good even.
Right.
They can just say
they like it.
Yep.
And so that's not super helpful feedback, which is, again, why it's great to do things like this where we get to meet with other authors and network and and provide that
And they
service
don't
to each
mind
other.
saying, no, this is garbage. Your tenses are all over the place. You really need to straighten this up. And
But
Right.
usually in a nice way. So that's good. I've seen a lot of people say it. They've spent, no, I've seen people spend, well, you're an editor, right? I think editors should be very direct. If you're not direct and you're editing, that is a problem to me. But
Yeah,
if you're going to your peers, your writing group, and you're posting your stuff, usually when somebody is giving feedback, they try to be kind. So
well, and I think the editors need to do it too. I mean, yes, you need to be direct, but I think so. What we call it in the editing world is called a constructive criticism sandwich.
yeah.
And so a lot of editors, especially ones that work for traditional publishers because they don't need to be friends with authors, they just point out everything that's wrong. They never talk about what's right. And I think it's important to make sure that you're letting people know what they're doing right too. Because if you're constantly just pointing out, I mean, it's the same thing with parenting. When you're constantly pointing out what your kid is doing wrong,
it's the
but you
same thing with any
never let them
relationship
know, what they're doing
or
right,
interaction
it
even.
just crushes them and breaks them down. And especially with new writers, it's so important to let them know what they're doing right as well, so that they don't get that crushed sense of, oh, I suck, nothing is good.
Also, from now on, when I ask Heidi to edit my stuff, I'm gonna be like, make me a sandwich.
There you go. Just don't tell me to get in the kitchen. As long as you don't tell me to get in the kitchen, you can make your
Also,
sandwich.
another good.
No, I would not tell you to get in the kitchen. I know these stories. Maybe your husband. Did I disconnect?
No.
Yeah, we lost you
No,
for a
okay.
second there. What
Oh,
happened?
did you?
I said maybe I would tell your husband to get in the kitchen, but I've heard the stories about you in the kitchen.
Oh yeah, my husband's definitely much better in the kitchen than I am.
What were you saying, Amanda?
What was I saying? I was saying another good tool for new writers is actually to critique other writers' work, because in your own work, you're so close to it, you don't see the errors a lot of times. But by editing other people's works repeatedly, those grammar rules and punctuation rules really start to settle in. I know one of my big things was passive language. And the more that I edited and found it in other people's work, the more I was starting to be able to identify it in my work.
Yeah.
So it seems counterintuitive, but it actually is really helpful to learn editing by your work by editing other people's work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
We're readers first. I think with a few exceptions, most authors are readers first. And their love for writing comes from reading. But they're so used to reading, quote, good work, that they don't see it when they're not, we don't get to see Stephen King's first draft. We don't know what it looked like before. And so a lot of authors beat themselves up when their first draft is not so great. But when you see other authors who, like Joshua Robertson, I love Josh's books.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see a first draft, and howdy. I mean, he writes really well first drafts for the level that he is. Yeah, he writes really great first drafts for the level that he's at.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference between his first draft and his final product is amazing.
Oh, of course.
It really is. And when somebody who's as great a writer as Joshua Robertson is puts out a first draft that's just okay, then I feel better about putting out a first draft that's just okay.
Everybody does. What was helpful for me is Christina Dodd, who is a New York Times bestselling author in romance. She is top of her game, great writer. She's been writing a long time. She published a synopsis and first draft of one of her books on her website. And you can see how, especially if you read that book, you can see how she took her idea all the way through and how small it was, and all
That's
the little
really awesome
marks.
that she was willing to do that, because a lot of authors,
she absolutely is, and she's willing to do that. And I've seen that with a couple things that she's done. And so if you're looking to see that transition and get some advice from somebody who's at the top of their game, she is willing to do that. It's insane. And there's a big difference.
Work time.
Oh, hello.
Amanda's computer's talking to us again. She does that a lot. Her notifications are insane, man.
It's the only
that
thing
would drive
that
me
keeps functioning.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Oh, God.
Otherwise, I'll be like, oh, I guess I have nothing to do today. I'm just going to lay here and watch Facebook videos all day.
Nice.
I have it for much the same reason, but it's because I get so caught up in one thing, I forget to move on to the next thing.
To move on to the next one. That's me.
Yeah. Like
But I don't allow my computer to talk back to me.
Oh, my computer has to
I
talk
don't
to me,
either.
otherwise I don't see it. That's bad.
I just love that she says OWS as owls. Owls
Oh,
work.
that's adorable.
That is adorable.
I just use a planner. It doesn't speak to me.
I use a planner too. I do both. I have a paper planner and digital.
I'm really bad about the transitions. Like I have to set timers on my phone to remind me of stuff. Because if I don't have it on if I don't have a thing to remind me, it's bad. Before I got hurt, I actually spent 6 hours one day working on a thing and realized that my timers never went off because I'd put my phone on silent. And my husband's like, hey, did you eat? Have you put the dinner in yet? And I'm like, those are two separate questions.
What am food?
What is food? Why do you want to eat? What's wrong with you that you think that I should feed you? But yeah, it's bad. I'll go all day without. I won't even stop I'll forget to go to the bathroom. It's that bad.
And then you stand up and about to explode.
Right? Right? See,
I've been there, done that.
This. I'm so glad I'm not the only one. But yeah, when I get into, especially when I'm like writing or editing, I just get lost.
Oh, editing's the worst.
Get lost.
Because when I'm writing, I'll still get up to go get coffee.
I don't.
But if I'm editing, I will actually sit here and lift an empty coffee cup to my mouth repeatedly.
Oh, no.
It's a sad day.
If you do work with a timer for a long time, eventually you'll get a better sense of the time that's passing. For me, I don't need it anymore because I worked as a hairdresser for years and everything was timed. And so now
that'd do it, yeah.
I don't need it. It's just innate.
I'm hoping you're right on that. I'm working on 2 years of this timer thing and still forget lunch. So
2 years is not probably long enough.
Yeah, I'm bad. And at jobs I didn't have to keep the timer because they told me when to take my breaks.
Yeah, people would interrupt you.
Yeah. And I don't have that at home working for myself. It's bad.
Right. Yeah, you need a timer. You need a timer too to make sure, especially if you're working on a computer or something, you have to stretch and move your fingers in different ways. Yes.
Yeah. I actually have a notification on my phone 4 times a day. It's a get up, move, get coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
Although, you know what happens if you injure your back tells you to move. So that helps, I guess.
True.
Yeah.
That's actually why I used to keep a carafe when I first started working. Well, when I first started writing from home, I used to keep a full carafe at my desk so I wouldn't have to get up so often. Yeah, I learned real fast that's not a good plan. Because when you don't have to get up, you don't get up. And then, 8 hours have gone by, especially when, my husband was deployed. I was alone.
Oh,
I had 0 interruptions.
And then all of a sudden you realize that you've been working nonstop 16 hours and
it's like why is it so dark in this room?
Yeah. And you're like, oh, when was the last time I ate? I don't even know.
Yeah, it'd be like 4 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Work with your little
I was one of those people. But by damn, I got 3 books written in 6 weeks.
Wow. Yeah. That's
written, edited, ready to publish.
Stop telling me things like that because that makes
me
stop
eating and ignore the world to get the books done.
Look, move your desk to the toilet. Set your coffee maker up. Set 2 coffee makers up in the bathtub. One's for soup, one's for coffee. You're good to go.
Oh my Lord.
Can you guys tell I've thought this
Yeah,
through?
see, I'm trying to more balance my life, not chain myself to my computer.
Oh, if you're sitting on
more,
a toilet, you
so-
have got to learn how to balance. I mean, no problems there.
Yeah. I'm
After,
trying
like,
to write
2
faster, but
hours, your
not that
legs
fast.
are numb, so you have to use your back to keep you up. Yeah.
Oh, yuck.
No, yeah.
I'd like
So,
to point out that I am making that part up. I haven't actually gone that far.
but you thought about it.
Oh,
That's so
okay.
scary.
All right.
But I have thought
It
this
sounded
through.
realistic.
She's a writer. She's really good at making stuff up. So, Anais, tell us a little bit. You mentioned this book that you're working on. Tell us a little bit more about what the story is and when we can expect to see it from you.
Oh, goodness. Okay. The book that I'm working on right now is called Underworld Aria, and it is about a girl who is expected to live her parents' dreams, basically. So she's 17 years old, and she is enrolled in a summer program for concert pianists. And at the end of the program, one person from that very elite program gets to go on and work with the orchestra. So, of course, her parents want her to have this, and she doesn't even know what she wants anymore. So she starts having anxiety attacks because she's not getting the marks that she used to. Like when she was 14 years old, she was basically on top, and now it's not as easy. And so she has all that pressure going on, and then she meets somebody that she really likes, which is a little different. I've never had a love interest, especially in the teen books that I've done. And this guy is really good too, and they're competing for the same thing. And so she comes from this really well-off family. So if she doesn't make it, realistically, it doesn't really matter. It's just that they want to have stuff to brag about to their friends. But if her boyfriend doesn't make it, then he might just not make it at all. So
that emotional pressure.
Yeah, so it's a really high pressure environment. And of course, when all you've had and you've been working your entire life, she's even named Aria because her parents want her to be this concert pianist that they weren't. And so they put all this expectation on her to succeed. So she starts taking pills and drinking to try to deal with that. So it's about her internal struggle with anxiety, and then his struggle with helping her. But then he has his own problems to deal with. His parents died. And he has to work now. So it's about their relationship, and then her own relationship with herself and her parents, to try to transition from being a teenager with all of these expectations to finding out what she wants as a person.
That is an awesome story, and it's so relatable for a lot of kids. Maybe not the music aspect, but the pressure of living up to parents' expectations, and the perspective for parents to not put too much of their expectations on their kids.
Right. I think that it probably is easy to do. I'm not a parent, but the boy, he wants to succeed, and part of that is because that's what his parents wanted for him, and they're not even there now. So it's such a deep-seated thing in you to want to please your parents.
And sometimes that ghost is more compelling than the person.
Exactly. Yeah, and sometimes it's more important than what you want.
Yeah. And with parents, even like I considered myself to not be, I have a 17-year-old and a almost 14-year-old. And I considered myself to be pretty laid back. I worked really hard not to put expectations, I thought. And then, I'm learning from watching my kids that that may not have been as true as I had tried.
Well, I think that everybody, you can't help it. I think that it's just natural. It's just some people like in this version, it's a very extreme version.
Alert
That
from
happens with
calendar.
stage
How's work
parents.
time?
Hi,
Working.
she's doing it. It's happening. Yeah, there's just some people take it too far, but I think that you can't help it. If you're a human being, you're going to put expectations on other people. So it's all about managing them.
Yeah,
Being
absolutely.
reasonable.
Absolutely. And then also on top of that, making sure that you convey, because I didn't put expectations on my kids, like driving them to do what they did, because I had a sister who did that, and I saw the pressure that her kids felt, and I didn't want to be that parent. But
Right.
because I set standards for myself and I talked about my work life and the things that I was doing, my kids picked up on those things, and
Yeah.
they automatically, I want to be like this parent, and I want to please this parent, and I want to achieve those things. So it is one of those things that, yes, we have to be careful about. It goes back to the whole feedback thing too. How you do constructive criticism with them as well,
Yeah.
makes a huge difference. So
Yeah.
when do we expect this book out from you?
In the next couple months, I would say. It's almost done, so it's close. I even have a prototype cover.
And then she's gonna send it to Heidi to make sandwiches.
That's right. No, I think that I have been, so far I've been okay. So I think I'm good. I hope. I spend a lot of time with my story babies. I think that if I was writing in a different genre, then I would need more outside assistance. But I've been writing these for a long time.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be awesome. I'm super excited to see it, and we will definitely keep up with that, because I think all of us follow you on social media. So
yes. Yeah, I will put something out when it is ready. I just published Perfect Break as well, so that's another thing where I'm like, hey, you just published that in December, so calm down a bit.
Oh
no, there's something to be said about that fast publishing, as long as the stuff that you're putting out is quality content. Mike Anderley from 20 Books to 50K, he suggests publishing 7 books a year.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know how you people do that, but mad props to you.
Yeah.
What you do is you write it and you hand it off to somebody else to finish.
Oh, is that what it is? I guess
I have no clue, but I'd really, really like that to be true.
I think that it might be helpful.
Even then, I don't think I could do that, because for me, the editing process is a huge part of my process of writing.
Yeah, well,
I can write a book really fast, but and passing it off to somebody else to edit, I can't. I'm too much of a control freak.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go through. I usually have 3 passes before I pass it to somebody else to edit, because that's part of my process of storytelling.
I can't write, not edit as I write. Like, I've tried a lot. I'm incapable. So by the time it's reached anyone, I've actually gone through and read the whole thing 5 times and edited the whole thing. Like, I even do a final edit once I'm done writing it. So by the time I'm handing it off, I've looked at it too many times. My brain just slurs the whole thing. So
right, and that's why
it
I always
only makes sense at that point for me to pass it on and to let go.
Yeah, and that's why I always have an editor. I'm part of a group that they just changed their name, so I don't know what they're called now. But it was 20 books editors edition, but then they had to change it because they didn't want to be affiliated
the 20 books thing.
Right. There's copyright, trademark. Anyway, but it's a bunch of editors, and we had a writer come in and they were like, "Do you guys pay people to edit your books?" And I was like, "Yes, I do. Yes, I do." Because when you're so involved in a story, you think it says what you meant it to say, and that may not be how it's conveyed when somebody else reads it. So
you need that other set of eyeballs.
But I think that there's, depending on your level of skill, when that other set of eyeballs comes in is a huge thing. I think most established writers who've done more than 2 or 3 books particularly if they're working in the same genre, they don't need a developmental editor and a line editor. They can get away with just a line editor. But if you're stepping into a new genre, you probably want to have a
I
developmental
have a
editor work
developmental
with you
editor
too.
this time.
Yeah. Well, because you're going from writing romance to writing
To
fantasy.
fantasy. Yep. That's why I'm like, no, I need somebody else.
Yeah. And
I'm
they'll
not
be
even
able to
gonna
make
play.
sure that you're hitting the key points that are wanted in that genre, even if you read the genre regularly, you know, and especially if you're doing like a genre mashup, which I love to do. It's important to make sure that you're meeting the expectations for both of those genres without pushing people away in the other genre, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's definitely a place, even for established writers who've been doing it for a long time. Having an editor is a very important piece to that. Thank you for joining us, Wendy. Have a good day. Sorry, our
It's
one
alright.
commenter's leaving us at the moment.
Aw, bye. Yeah,
Yeah.
they can add other things that you don't realize. So it's good to have another set of eyes that you trust.
Exactly. And that's probably the most important part, is it's got to be somebody that you trust that has those
Yeah, I
skills
can't
that
have
you're
any of those
looking to-
lion eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
A little musical
Can't
reference
use
there.
anybody.
All right. Well, it is the top of the hour. So for those of you who are watching this later, if you're interested in stalking Anais like we stalk her, we do have in the description for the video links to her Facebook, to her Twitter, and website. And then, of course, my favorite is her YouTube channel, because
Oh,
I
Oh, my
love
favorite's
watching-
her giant bay windows.
I love watching her
Thank
YouTube
you.
channel. You can't stalk as well as Rebekah. Sorry, we're not giving you her address, but but yeah, so you can follow her and check out all of her awesome poetry books. And then she has a young adult book that is written in verse as well, which was
Oh,
Yeah.
love it.
I have 2 of them. Yeah.
2 of them. So I've only read the one, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So go ahead and stalk her and find her awesome books. And Rebekah,
ready
do you
to
want to take us
cry.
out? Yes, definitely.
You're ready to cry.
Yeah, if you're reading on Ace stuff, it's all about the catharsis. Whew, I can speak today.
Hey, you
No,
got
I really can't.
catharsis. I give you mad
Yep.
props for
I'm into catharsis.
Got
All
me
right,
thinking
Rebekah,
about
you
our
wanna
books,
take
and I'm
us
all. Totally broke my brain. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. All right. Thanks everyone for following us. Obviously we will be back next month. I've already lined up next month's special guest. Probably. I haven't told anyone else. Do you guys want to know who's going to be on next time?
Yes.
Obviously, yes.
Robert Cano.
All
Yay,
right.
Robert!
Woo! Sexy
I get to
time.
finally
Yep.
talk to him in person.
Yeah,
I
don't do
realized
any podcast with him.
that we've had almost all females on this show, and I decided it was time to swap it up.
Hey, we had Joe.
Yep, we started with Joe, but
And
look
we
at
talk
it.
about Josh all the time.
The rest of it has been girls.
Yeah, we had Joe, and that was it. Joe was our first, and we've had females ever since. So,
But we
time
do
to-
talk a lot about the guys. We do talk about them a lot.
We
talk
talked
Yeah.
about JD. So, and he's a
Yeah.
guy.
JD would be fun to have on too.
Oh, he would.
I think you should have
But
an
you know
episode
what?
with
We
him.
would if we were going to do it with JD, we would have to do it at a different time though, because he has a
Yep.
day job, I think.
Yep. So does Robert. He is actually going to be taking an extended lunch to be with us.
Oh, that makes me feel even more special.
Yep.
Hmm.
So Heidi, you want to tell everyone where to stalk you?
Oh, all of my links are in the description down below. And the big one is HeidiAngell.com, and that's with 2 L's because I'm not that kind of angel.
See, you have to say that, otherwise Amanda gets sad. All right,
Yeah,
Amanda.
I love that
Yes.
tagline. It's a good tagline.
Yep.
I am Amanda. You can find more than you want to know about me at my website, which is authoralmabry.com. All my social media links, all the other life bullshit I have is there. Until next time, scribe happy and stay sassy.
Anais, you want to tell them where they can find you?
Yes. Well, first of all, look at the links because my name might be hard to find. But you can write
And that's why I
Anais
put them there.
exactly, or if you type in Anais Believe, ANAIS, into the internet, you'll find everything: my Twitter, my website, and if you do any of the book titles, it's really easy to pop up on Amazon. So just follow the links.
And I'm, of course, Rebekah Jonesy. You can find me at Rebekah Jonesy at Blogspot or any of my links below. If you go to my blog, you can probably find my stalker photos of all the authors I stalk. Not really, but...
Just online, right?
Yep. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next time. And until then, read well and prosper. Heidi, that's your cue.